Hello there, and welcome to my new little feature about Mahokenshi. I'm Icon, and in this video I'm going to review the preview version of this game. The actual game is planned to be released in the first quarter of 2022, and I wanted to feature this preview because I feel this game deserves already your attention. So in this video I'm going to cover the gameplay real quickly. I'm going to talk about the fresh and interesting ideas that I personally think are worth it, and also going to talk about pros and cons of this game already and a little bit of a summary. Keep in mind that this game right now is in a pretty early development phase, so a lot of these things are bound to be changed, but well, you get the idea. In the description box down there, you will find links to specific topics, so if you're looking for something specific, you will find it there. So let's get started with the gameplay. Mahokenshi is a deck builder and a strategic tabletop RPG at the same time. So we get to fulfill missions. So here we have to we will have to destroy 20 enemies before 35 turns are over. The combat is being resolved by playing cards. Cards are played by spending energy, and cards are drawn every turn out of your draw pile, basically your deck. Out here, we can grab new cards, we can check out our enemies, the map is full with things to discover, there's a dojo where we can upgrade our cards, there's treasures out there, there's free new cards, all manner of different things, all guarded by baddies that we can take down, which give us gold, which allows us to do more things. A lot of these interactions are very, very similar to games we already know, like Slay the Spire and so, but the real cool part here is that it's all happening on a hex field, and it's a pretty neat discovery style, which reminds me a lot of games like Heroes of Might and Magic and such. You get to play as one of the 4 characters from the 4 clans, so right now we only have the House of the Ruby enabled. The other 3 houses are not accessible in the preview yet. They all have a different style of fighting. You can play every mission with each of the heroes that you want to go for, so if you don't like the approach with one hero, you can go for another. That's the gameplay in a nutshell. You play one of these missions, you complete it, you gain a meta currency called Devotion, which allows you to buy new upgrades between the missions, and then you go for the next mission, and so on and so forth. Unlike other games, Mahokenshi doesn't aim that much for a procedural generated content. No, this is mostly or entirely so far handcrafted maps, handcrafted encounters, and therefore a lot of linear gameplay. Quite a refreshing thing, considering that most deck builder games that I've played so far were strongly relying on that procedural generation strategy. Alright, that sums up pretty much the gameplay. Let's talk about the innovational ideas in this game. I already scratched a few, but I want to go deeper into that topic. First off, the combo of deck builder and the map-based strategy game works out great for me. The combat feels pretty smooth. You can play several cards already in one row. You can speed up the game here, and you can move over the map like that. All these things are already implemented and give you a pretty interesting gameplay. Cards are already specialized to the character class, but for now, it's really hard to say what kind of cards are special for the House of the Ruby, because, you know, I don't know any of these other houses yet. Another thing that I really enjoy about the game here, and I was pretty surprised when I thought about it, but I can't remember any other game in this genre which actually right now features this mission-based gameplay. All deck-based card battlers that I knew so far were not that much mission-based, and I found that a pretty refreshing take to have a specific goal that I have to fulfill, and trying to fulfill that strategy with different heroes from different angles. That sounds pretty promising to me. Altogether, the execution here is pretty cool because we get to play our hero here as a strategical unit. Movement plays a pretty big role. So another innovational aspect of the game is, for example, here standing on that forest gives you 3 defense points. standing on the hills gives you extra strength points. Moving during combat plays a pretty big role in this game, and using the territory to your advantage is definitely part of the gameplay and feels very, very refreshing because you're not only... This feels like a pretty neat synergy between a tabletop game and a deck builder, and I enjoyed it quite thoroughly so far. So these are pretty innovational ideas to the genre, and let's loop right into the pros and cons section of this game. I'm going to start out with the good sides, and well, so far I gotta say, it already plays pretty smoothly, and I enjoyed the combat in this game so far a lot. The missions I played felt pretty interesting to play. There's a lot of good things to go for. Deck building also feels pretty neat. I can't really say much about it because the game is in such a incomplete status right now. It's unfair to say this is so good about this game or this is so bad about this game, but I'm really trying my best here. So another thing I really like so far about this is that, yeah, I already mentioned it, but that mission-based gameplay really gives me a good feeling about it. This gives me the feeling that Mahokenshi is at least one game that I will be able to finish to some degree. Don't get me wrong, I really love those card battler games, but sometimes games like Slay the Spire and such, you know, they feel a little bit endless. This one at least has the premise of giving us a straightforward or a straightly finishable plotline. Yeah, that's what I want to say. Another thing, last thing that I really enjoyed about that game so far is the fact that the visuals are pretty crisp. The drawings of the characters are really cool. The artworks on the cards are really good. I mean, come on, this game is pretty much, I don't know if it's an alpha or a beta version, but I've played beta versions with much worse artworks. The visuals of this game are absolutely pleasant, and that's really something I enjoyed a lot about this title so far. Yeah, that's pretty much all of the good things that I can say already. Let's move over to the bad things. So this is going to be a little bit hard again, because like I mentioned before, the game ain't finished yet, so I'm doing my best here to stay fair. So the real big downside here that Mahokenshi has to suffer or has to prove through is the fact that we've seen already a lot of card battlers and deck builders and games like these in the last couple of years. Ever since Slay the Spire made its debut, we had a lot of games that work pretty similar to that. And, you know, if things go really badly for Mahokenshi, this might be yet another boring clone of something we've already saw a lot of times. But I honestly don't think that this is going to happen out of a simple reason, and that's the fact that Mahokenshi aims into a different role of game, like with this mission-based playstyle and such. But it could be a thing that, in the end, could turn you off, because, you know, we've had several games like these, like I already said. Another thing so far that's, well, something that I have to keep an eye on, the decisions with cards and skills that you can upgrade your characters with so far aren't too exciting. There is no real wow, what a skill feeling behind that. I haven't found a single card yet that really surprised me with its with the way it worked and such things. So overall, there aren't too many real big innovations gameplay-wise. I mean, you don't need to invent the wheel anew, but I really hope that in the more finished version, there will be more, you will notice stronger what kind of clan you are playing right now. Because right now, well, like I said, I don't have the comparison to the other clans, so I can't say that there's not enough distinction between the decks of those. But so far, things feel very bland. You're fighting a lot against peasants and, well, rebels, I'm sorry. And yeah, you know, most of these enemies are very similar, and a lot of the gameplay so far feels pretty samey. But like I mentioned, this can be object of a change, and I hope that this review also might be of a help for the developers to get things going. Another thing that I'm missing so far, I'm really strongly missing, is the game has no item system so far. None that I have discovered yet. So stuff like artifacts and mutators that change your character and such would be definitely necessary and a pleasant surprise here. But I don't know, we're going to see how this game proves itself, but so far I enjoyed this preview a lot more than I actually thought when I tried it out the first time. And I can only recommend you one thing: just give it a whirl for yourself, because, you know, it is entirely free to play, and therefore you don't need to pay anything to give yourself an opportunity to try it out. So let's get over to the summary part. I really can't wait for a more completed version of this game to show up, because so far I really think that there is a lot of premise in this game. The real important part, though, is that there's going to be more distinction between the different heroes and the different runs, because so far the amount of cards that is draftable is just way too low. At this point, it's even difficult for me to tell you whether or not I like the deck building or not, because the cards just feel that similar to one another. But, you know, gameplay and mechanic wise, Mahokenshi already feels like a very interesting thing to play with, and therefore I can only say, yeah, I'm very interested in seeing what this game will do for us in the coming year. Definitely one game that I'm looking forward to see in the early 2022 phase. And if there's going to be enough diversification and enough distinction between the competitors, Mahokenshi could be easily one of the most exciting titles in the next year. Alrighty, so with that being said, I don't have anything else to add about this game. I hope you found that helpful. Leave me your comments down below. Feel free to leave me your own opinion about this game so far. I'd really love to hear what you guys think. And of course, leave a thumbs up if you found that helpful. And last but not least, check out my channel. There's daily content coming up there. All you need to do is subscribe and turn on the notification bell, and you won't miss anything in the future. See you guys next time, and enjoy gaming. Bye bye.